Before we begin, thank you very much to hi, can I get one bacon cheeseburger meal, hold the pickle and the tomato with a large fry, medium Coke, and a 6-count chicken for joining the Patreon campaign. I'm going to assume it's a 6-count chicken nugget, but Patreon only lets you have such a large name. Which also, by the way, these fun, jokey names, this is fun. After you put this in, please shorten your name again, because it makes like looking up the list of current patrons very, very hard. But thank you very much for the silliness. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Helps me out a lot. Lets me continue to do all of this for you. Today, we are going to look at a format I can technically only do once a year. And that is to look back at all of the year's releases, or all the releases for a particular toy line. And we are going to play a game of Repaint, Retool, or Retire, where we're going to take a look at all of the figures that we have gotten in Legacy United, including repaints and re-releases from previous years, and determine, do these molds still have life left, and what should be done with them? So, just kind of my way of speculating on how much more can we get out of these figures, because Legacy United had a bunch of really cool stuff in it, so that's actually potential this year. So, for instance, Boulder Crash, starting off with the core class. Now, we know core class is done. There is no core class coming for the next series of generations, Age of the Primes. So, this would be relegated to special releases, multi-packs that need a little bit extra in them, that kind of thing. And to be fair, I'm going to say this. For the armorizers, I'm going to want one more of each at least. I'm upset that we never got these in like magma colors, like obsidian black with orange highlight. Always going to be upset when they do these Izers and they don't have matching ones. You know, the only time they did that was the modulators, and they only did it for one set, and there were only 2 modulators, so it didn't really work out very well. But no, I would take one more Boulder Crash if they do the right color scheme. So yeah, this is a repaint. This mold is a repaint. Megatron from Energon. There's really nowhere else to go. They did the Galvatron, and that's pretty much all that there is. There are other uses technically, but I don't think you're going to do Shattered Glass Megatron in such small size. I don't think you're going to do the black and green one that got canceled, and I'm still upset over that because it looked amazing. Unfortunately, I think this one is come and gone. I don't know what else you could do with it at that point. For me, this would be a retire. I think anything else you do with this mold would basically just be, you know, like crowbarring it in. I think it's fine as is. Tasmania Kid is in a weird spot. So I would say repaint, but there is only one repaint you could go for, and that's Bound Rogue, the Robot Master's repaint of the mold. And you know what? I could go for that. I could. It would look fine. I would go for I would go for that as a repaint. That's absolutely a select release kind of thing, but I would go for one repaint of it in that situation. The Beast Machines Cheetor. This one's tricky. So they have been in the mood to go back and redo BotCon concepts as repaints and retools of modern figures. You know, this year brought us the Motor Master as a retail release figure, and it's a really, really cool one. That said, there is CAT Scan. We could technically get away with doing CAT Scan, but that would only come if they did some kind of multi-pack release for, you know, for instance, like a select set that was just dedicated to old BotCon toys. For that, it would be a fun little pack-in, but on its own, in any other context, I would probably say retire. And it seems like a waste, because it's a brand new mold. It's actually not bad, but there's really not a lot of options for this toy. So I would think, yeah, maybe a repaint as like a weird multi-pack for BotCon toys, but that might be it. Dino King. So I'm sticking to the mainline releases, but I threw in a few just for flavor, just to talk about it, just because I know someone's going to go, oh, you didn't mention this or that. In this case, I've left off things like the Star Raiders, because that's, like it gets a lot more redundant. I don't want to really talk that, like a line that's dedicated to reuses. But there are a few that I do want to throw in here just for the sake of talking about them. Dino King is one of them. This is a retool situation. I would take a retool of this set, new weapons and all, because the original Dino King is based off of the Monstructor set. And we still do not have a proper update to Monstructor. It's one of the only combiners in G1 that has never gotten any kind of second run. I would love that. I'm not sure if the molds can do it, but, it's as close as we've come. So, heavy retooling, fingers crossed. Maybe at least the combined mode looks good. We do it the way that we did, like, Combiner Wars Lyokaiser, where, well, like, the combined mode looks fine. Animated Bumblebee, we do know we're getting one more reuse out of as Wasp, but beyond that, you could retool it into Cliff Jumper. I do think it does have more than just that one use in it. This is a small-ish mold, so I'm pretty sure Hasbro got off pretty good as far as profiting, because there's no way this took as much, assembly time or part count as larger deluxe figures. So one repaint, slash remold is probably fine for it, but it is a good figure. If you can stomach the price for the size, it's a good figure. You can do Cliff Jumper, you could do Tap Out and Glyph. So there's options there. I would go for a repaint or a retool of this one. Chase. Now, we got a retool that was pretty good. Cliff Jumper actually worked better than I expected it to. I do like this mold. I like this mold enough to think, yeah, you could retool it. The obvious repaint here is going to be probably Tailgate from Prime, but that is a limited character. That is absolutely a select style release or like an Amazon box set kind of release. That would be tricky otherwise. You wouldn't get away with it at retail. You definitely wouldn't get away with it at retail. We'll see. I'm struggling to even think. Looks like it's a good mold, but like, who else do you make with it? Because there's not a lot of Autobots who have that chest shape that haven't already been done some other way. I would say a retool, though. Honestly, I'm kind of getting lost on who it could be. All right, Magneus. Again, same answer applies. I would take a repaint. But the repaint would have to be that magma color scheme I've been looking for out of these. Otherwise, this one has been worn pretty well. I don't think we need other retools, new heads, new etc. Just repaint the first one, and I think I'm going to be okay. Windblade's an interesting one. So, repaint-wise, there's not a whole lot we can do with her. You could do her Beast Hunter's look, but that's not it's not terribly different from how she already looks. We already have one retool, which is the Slipstream figure, which looks like the Japanese United, or Legends figure, rather. I'm of two minds here. It's like, one, if you're going to leave it like this, if it's just going to be Windblade's mold, then I think you're pretty much done. I don't think there's anything else you could really do with it. However, as a retool, and this is unlikely because the show and the toy line ultimately failed, I could absolutely see this being retooled into a proper female Seeker body. With like the chest redone, the head from Slipstream, the legs more blocky, having more like familiar Seeker form, the wings redone. And then you could do it as Earthspark, Skywarp, and Nova Storm. And as a 2-pack, I would buy that in an instant. Probably not going to happen, like I said, because the show did not do well for Hasbro. But I would take it. I think it'd be a great use. Chromia. So, I know everyone wants the Samurai Prowl. But the hard part with Samurai Prowl is there's really no dedicated price point to make that work. And I'm not sure you could even get armor to work on him that's still convertible into the sidecar. You could on the original toy, so you have a blueprint. But I'm not sure if the new toy had that in mind when they designed it. I think even Chromia here is a little unnecessary. It doesn't feel like the Chromia that they're trying to homage here. The mold's good. I don't know if I could, I don't know if there's any like real repaint that I would like to see him in. Even like G1 Prowl Colors was done to the original, but I don't think it looks that great on that mold. I would be okay with this being retired. I would be okay if this mold was not used again. I'm sure Hasbro's got something else in mind. The only thing I might take is like maybe like some weird take on Cybertron Ransack. Maybe if that was the retool. I'll change the answer. I will take a retool of that, but that's probably the limit. And then you have to do Crumple Zone. You can't just do one half of Transformers Bulk and Skull. You got to do the other one. And there's a lot. Okay, I would say retire, but in those exact circumstances, retool. Gears has life in him. Gears, we still have not seen any sign of a repaint or retool, but we know we're going to get a G1 swerve out of it eventually. All we have so far is the Smallfoot repaint, the GoBot version. I guess that's a retool technically because it's using the toy head. But we should be getting a swerve at some point from this mold. Like, there's no way we're not, right? Because it's Swerve. You're going to do Swerve at some point just for the IDW fanboys. So yeah, definitely retool. Definitely retool. It's a good mold, too. Like, I would absolutely take it again. Okay, Shard, repaint, retool, anything. Give me this toy more. There's only 3 Armorizer molds, but this one is my favorite. I thought this one had a lot of really cool potential, and then they only did one version of it. They only made one, which is foolish. Yeah, take it in the lava color scheme that I originally talked about, but also, the purple, like the purple Energon colors, even if it's not translucent, I would still take it just as is. If you want to make this look like ice crystal, I would take that. This is a really cool looking mold. There's so many different things you could do with it. I'm down for any repaint they want to make of this one. Hotshot, we know we are getting a repaint of already. The listings for the next capsule line at Walmart does include a red Hotshot or an Excellion. So I would say retool because, again, one of my favorite Bakon toys of all time is the Shatterglass Goldbug. And it's one of the Shatterglass figures that I thought that missed the mark so badly from the original. Like, they tried to do it with just a standard Bumblebee toy. Doesn't work. Doesn't have the right menace to it. This one, do this one. This one would be good. I would like this one, please. Thank you. So, absolute retool. This one can still go. Sideburn is already a retool himself, so I don't think it has that much life left in it, but obviously there is one repaint we can get out of it, which is the Super Sideburn red and white colors. I would be okay with that, especially if they find some way of doing Prowl and X-Brawn at some point in the future. What I would like here is to have like all the kid friendlies, like all the Hotshot wannabes that just be in a row together. The red Sideburn, the Power Lynx, Hotshot, and then Excellion. So just have like the row of like imitation Hot Rods. That would be funny. So I think this one definitely needs to have at least one repaint in it. And I'm sure they'll find some way of squeezing it in somewhere. We did get a package refresh of Strong Arm, so that mold was technically still in the works during this series. This is one that's absolutely a retire. I think it has done a good job. It worked as Alita 1. It worked better as Minerva. And then, yeah, like I don't think it was a great choice for Strong Arm, but I'm at least happy that an RID 2015 character actually did make it to like a mainline new mold. Like that gives me hope for a lot of those designs that I thought were just not from a popular enough show to actually get any kind of attention. This might have changed that. This might change that. The Deluxe Optimus has so much life left in it, it's absurd. Yeah, this one absolutely is. Like, because it is sculpted to have a lot of the sticker detail from the original G1. I could absolutely imagine a better painted version being released at some point. I could see a version with a trailer coming out at some point as a special release. I could see all the different color schemes that this original toy came in. No, easy. Repaint and retool. Yeah, this one ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Quake is absolutely on my retire list. It's already a really weird mold to actually like super retool Skullgrin so they can make a normal tank out of him, so they can make a... Why did I call that a normal tank? Why did I call that a normal tank? That is not a normal tank. I'm taking that back. It serves a purpose, you know? It looks like Quake. The colors aren't exactly right, but it looks enough like Quake. It looks better than the previous attempt at Quake, as that was the hardhead retool. This one, no. I'm done with this mold. I really don't care to see it again. Like, the only thought I have for a retool might have been a Gut Cruncher, but that's not necessary in the least. I'd be okay with this being retired. Same for this mold. I'm glad that they are doing the G2 Stunticons out of the new molds. The Stunticons really don't have anything else after that. They have their G1 colors, the canceled G2, and that's pretty much it. Unless you want to do extreme retooling in order to get the Masquerade version of Menasor out there. But I don't think that would be practical. I think that's a little bit too niche to sell a $200+ set of toys. So I would be okay retiring this and the Stunticons in general after they've given us all the G2s. It sucks, but what are you going to do? There's just no other way to really put them to use. There's no other combiners that are just all cars. So, yeah. I think this one's pretty much going to be done. I'll put it to you this way. Even if they do retool it, like even if we down the line, they do like another round of Technobots in the same skeleton style and they decide they want to reuse this for Lightspeed, don't reuse this for Lightspeed. This is not a good toy to reuse for... This is not a good toy to reuse. I would be okay with this toy never appearing again. Please, thank you. Use the Dead End mold. It's the better mold. Origin Bumblebee got a release in this line. Late wave, just as like a second chance now that the Wheeljack was out. So we will count it here. But given how overbloated it was on its first release, like the absolute shelf pollution caused by this toy the first time it came out, retire. Absolutely retire. I'm okay with this one never coming back again. Well, what else would you do with it anyway? What else would you do with it anyway? There's no other shape like that in Transformers. I'd be good with that being done. And I think I'm the same way with Cosmos. We got the E-Hobby Pathfinder out of it. There's really no other direction you can go in for Cosmos. I'm sure you could dig up some obscure one out there. Like do Scrounge. Like Combiner War Scrounge was a repaint of Cosmos. Not in this body shape. Not in this style. I couldn't imagine Scrounge like this. So I think at this point you've had two chances to get Cosmos. You got to repaint just in case you just want the toy and not the character necessarily. Yeah, this is a retire. Is it time to actually retire the Sideswipe mold? I will admit, I do still like the mold. It is a good mold. Like that's the thing. And as I jokingly I made a whole list of 20 other uses you could get out of the mold. And I just saw someone on Twitter, and everyone tagged me in this. Someone actually posted a custom they did of doing RID hotshot out of this mold, a spy changer, and it works. It works great. I would say tentatively yes to that mold, but not this version. This version's absolutely a retirement because you've done both versions that had the slash chest. You're looking at retooling, you're looking at new heads, etc. So I would take retools because there are still funny ideas to do. Animated Prime is a repaint, retool, everything type toy. Because I would like one with the battle mask face. I would like one with the full trailer. I would like a full leader sized one that has like the trailer attachment, the armor up capability. I would take that in a heartbeat if they could work it into a leader class price point. And for an extra $20, I should hope they could throw that much in. He's not a triple changer. We've never had a full proper release of Optimus Prime from Animated with the full fire truck mode. It's always just been the front cab section that gets released as toys. And I know there's third-party upgrades. I don't want a third-party upgrade. I want Hasbro to actually connect the dots themselves and see, hey, we never got this. Can we please get this? So I'm still waiting for that. There's absolutely more uses out of this one. I am shocked Thundertron has not been retooled into Cybertron Leo Breaker yet. I thought that was a given. I thought that was an absolute given. Yeah, I am on board for one retool of this, and that is exactly that. And considering it only has one retool, it's a store exclusive, it is ripe for a second run. And I think redoing it as like such a polar opposite color scheme and character type, I think would do well. I think that's a good idea. Silverbolt has two options, and both of them are kind of on the obscure side. You have Windrazor, the Botcon toy, and then you have his Universe 1.0 color scheme, which I believe is pretty niche to do a repaint of. I would say yes, considering it's only gotten one use, and it has two remolds that are absolutely viable. This is a repaint option. I would take a repaint of this. Maybe one or the other. I don't think I would take both. But, you know, that would be up to Hasbro to pick their poison. I will say, there's another one in this list that I also think is a repaint from Universe 1.0, and if they did those as a versus pack, I would be down. Repaint. Repaint, 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 repaint. We know we're getting the black Cybertron Skywarp. I want it so badly. And then of course it's a Seeker mold. Look at all the ones they did. Like you could get away with the maroon Toys R Us color scheme and it would still be beautiful because those colors work on the toy. You have all of the Legends sized versions of this toy that had so many repaints and most of them worked. I would take all of them. Like I would army build this mold the way that they think people buy Seekers. What am I saying? The way they do buy Seekers. I would do that with this mold instantly. I love this mold. I don't think I can say the same for Vector. Vector Prime does have two potential repaints. I don't think either one is very good, though, and I don't think he should be done in either one. People seem down on this version of the toy anyway. It's a G-Axis retool, so there is some oddity that doesn't really suit the character. There's some vestigial parts left over from its original incarnation. I think it's good to retire it. If they do another Vector Prime toy, I would really prefer it just be a new one from the ground up. This one's fine. It fills a slot, but it's not ideal. But yeah, I think I'm done with the mold. I think I'm done with it. I think I am finally done with this mold too, whether it is Metal Hawk or Cyclonus. I think we've done everything we can with this one. We've got Botcon Ferrac as a Star Raider now. We don't need this one again. It's a brilliant mold. It's an absolutely fantastic mold. I think the best thing they could do was just change the colors of the plastic to be a little bit darker. I think you've officially declared we're out of ideas. So I'm done with this one. This is a retire. It's time to let this mold rest. It has done its service. It's been one of the best molds for years. You know, you let it go off into the sunset with dignity. I think I say the same with Ramjet. Remember, this one did get a reissue. It's a fine mold. I do champion that Seeker mold a lot more than most people do. But we already have the G2 version. And we have the canceled G2 version of the mold as well. I don't think you need anything else. I think that's pretty much all that needs to be done. I can't think of anything else I would actually want out of like this particular cone head. So I would say let him rest. This one's a retire. And strangely enough, I think this one's a retire too. I love this mold. I think this is a really good way of doing a retail level Tarn. I don't know what else you'd do with the mold. I think you're pretty much done with him at this point. You know, the bludgeon was even kind of a stretch. It works, but it's kind of a stretch. And then you've done the Cyberverse version. Obviously, we're doing a reissue of this toy, so we've gotten the IDW version twice. I don't see anything else that really needs to be done here. I think this is all well and good. You can just kind of leave him as is, and just make him as just like a really, really cool release that was there for a while. And then I think the rest can just be silence. You did good, Tarn. Extremely popular in your short lifespan, but unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do with you anymore. I hate to say this is in the same boat, because this is a one-off toy that was a Target exclusive. This wasn't even a proper mass retail release for a brand new mold. You know, and I do think this mold is worth existing because they did Bumblebee and Jazz. You know, we had to get the Wheeljack eventually. I think what it does is really impressive. You know, he's covered in kibble as a result in robot mode, but, you know, for what it had to accomplish, I think it does a really good job. I can't imagine who else or what else you would make out of it. Like I can't think of any other like super boxy transformer like that. You might be able to retool it and like pretend that it's a Cybertronian Ironhide, but that's such a stretch. That's such a bad stretch, and it wouldn't be the right size either. This is when we might just leave this as is. I don't think this one needs to go any further because I can't imagine what else you do with it. I wish they had done Scourge in Velocitron correctly. If that was the case, I would say this is a full-blown retirement. I'm not really a fan of this mold to begin with. I would be perfectly okay with this mold never hitting the shelves again. I would really prefer them to just take this up to like Commander class and give us a proper updated RID Scourge with all the full modern bells and whistles to it. But we're probably not going to get that, not for a long time at least. So I'm going to just go off and say, I'm going to say retire, because if they were going to go back and fix that Velocitron Scourge and like make him in like the proper Scourge color scheme, they would have done it by now. They've had their opportunities. Like even reissuing this, I think was a mistake. Like this is where you should have done Scourge, like a proper, real, good-looking Scourge, not whatever you did at Walmart. I think with that, yeah, I'm okay with this mold never happening again. This is a retire for me. Here's the other boy we talked about. Now, this would be an all-purple 2-pack, but a 2-pack of him as Universe Razorclaw fighting against that purple Silverbolt, I would buy. I would absolutely buy that set. You know, and I'm sure there's some other universe characters we could throw in there. You know, if we just want to make like, you could almost make a capsule line out of it. You know, you could take Sideburn and get his universe version in there. Who else could we do? Like, I'm trying to rattle my brain through like universe toys really quickly. Like, who else is available? Primal. You could do that weird Primal that came out in universe. Yeah, there's room. There's room for that. You could almost make a capsule line out of just Universe 1.0 at this point. And I'm sure there'd be people who'd be into it. Like, that's either perfect capsule line or perfect Amazon line. One or the other. But no, this one has to come out as Razorclaw at some point. It's one of the most popular universe toys. They only got one use out of this mold. It absolutely has to happen at some point. This, on the other hand, is in the same boat. It's also a leader class toy that only had one use. So you would expect them to figure out something else for it. But honestly, I don't see what else you do with Sandstorm. He never had a repaint. You know, like, on weird occasions, he'd be retooled from Springer, but to retool him back into Springer is probably going to look pretty bad. I don't imagine this becoming Springer in any universe. Botcon would do it, but we don't have Botcon anymore. This one is difficult. I would probably have to say retire because I genuinely don't know what else you do with the mold. You'd have to, like, original character him, and Hasbro doesn't do that anymore. So, that's a retirement for me. You only have one direction here, and it again requires Botcon to do the Mega Zarak version. And that one is a cool-looking figure. It would take quite a bit of paint in order to actually make it look correct, but on a leader scale figure, they tend to be a lot more generous with the paint budget, so it might actually be doable. In this case, I would say repaint, but that's literally the only one I would be down for. Beyond that, again, all we have are like canceled repaints and speculative ones. There's really nowhere else to go. You have one repaint left for this mold. I would be okay taking it. I would be okay with it. But beyond that, no. Ready to be upset? Retire. You've had so many chances to get this mold to Soundwave at this point, and I'll be honest with you, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of staring at those little landing struts that are left over from his Siege version hanging off of his forearms. I hate those things. I'm tired of all the leftover roughness that inherently comes from the fact that he was retooled from a toy that was absolutely not supposed to be a boombox. I'm sorry, tape recorder. Let's be correct here. I would take another Soundwave, but I'm thinking new mold 86 Soundwave. Still fits the same cassettes, but obviously designed to be a much more coherent toy, designed to be Soundwave from the ground up, and then you can take that one and do the Marvel comic repaint that I want so badly. That would be the direction for me. Yeah, beyond that, I think it's done. I think this mold's done too. Redoing Astro Train into Galaxy Shuttle, good idea. Takara is basically going to finish off what you can do with Astro Train by releasing him clean deco, no battle damage from Siege. The only other thing you could do would be to start homaging his toy colors, whether that be the US white and purple or the Japanese black and white. And you're not going to do the black and white because we have Galaxy Shuttle for that. And I don't think anyone's really clamoring to get the white and purple one. I'd rather you just release him again as clean deco Astro Train. It's done. This mold's done. I would say retire this one. Because keep in mind, the original one was a Siege mold. It's been around a long time. This is unfortunately also a retire. I just got this toy, and I think I'm fine with it never coming again. I don't mind the toy for what it is. It's a decent enough mold, I think. But it is also still a deeply flawed mold. I will absolutely acknowledge that. I think the transformation could be smoother. I think they could do better with the kibble and jet mode. All these other things and more that keep me from really enjoying this toy the way I really wish I could. Yeah, I don't see any other recourse. Blitzwing has one repaint beyond this, and it's that stupid, weird, beige and red one that no one really understood why Hasbro did it. Maybe it's flywheels, maybe it's not. We don't know because they never said anything. Point being, I don't think you can get any other. I think it's done. I think his mileage is up. This is a retire for me. If you want to do another Blitzwing tool, go back to the beginning. Do another one. Magnetar, I would love to get some kind of repaint of, but there are none. There are none. I don't even imagine a retool you could get out of this toy because it is so unique. The only repaints Magnetar ever had were Lucky Draw releases in Japan. There's an all gold one, and there is an all black one. And the all black one, we don't actually know what it looked like. How much gray was involved, if it was painted in any way. All the evidence of this one was lost. We know a contest was held. We know 10 of them were produced, but there's no photos of any in existence, and we don't even have the original article announcing the contest. It's Transformers lost media. You could probably get some designer out of Takara to go, oh no, this is how we painted it. This is what it was supposed to, this is how it ended up looking like. But why would you do that? All for the sake of getting one repaint out of a $90 mold. And keep in mind, Commander class toys typically only are one and done. Skylynx, Rodimus, this mold, one and done. They generally get their money's worth out of one release on Commanders. So I don't expect this one out. I think this is a retire. But to finish us off, Repaint. Oh my god, Repaint. I think you've only got room for one because Select's repaints are kind of shelf cloggy. But you have two great options here. You can either go Gamer Edition, which is the original toy colors, or you could go my preferred way, which is the Energon color scheme with white, bright neon green, not translucent. At this size, it would not survive. And then those yellow Energon lightning scars going across his body. He looks super good. He'd look incredibly good that way. I would be down for that. Again, it's a Selects release, not a retail release, but, it's absolutely there. I think we are going to get one repaint out of this toy. It's just a matter of which one does Hasbro really want to do. And that is Repaint, Retool, or Retire for Legacy United. Obviously, there's a lot of potential. I'm actually surprised that all the ones that I think are like pretty much done are toward the larger end of the scale size-wise. It's Voyager and up where it seems like they've hit a limit on what those molds can do. But the deluxe offerings have a lot of life left in them. And they could go in a lot of different directions for those. So we will see what's to come. I'm sure Hasbro's got 100 ideas for how else to use these molds. We'll just have to wait and see which they pick first. So until then, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
You've been waiting a long time, haven't you? But the wait's almost over. You're about to meet the brightest star in the universe. We're going to make an impact.